Rather than lads, welcome back to Cossy Arsenal Podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, the Daily Standard have said that Arsenal is preparing a shocking move for another brilliant midfield talent in Ngolo Kante. However, it is yet unknown whether Chelsea will be able to cash in on the player this season, and even if they want to sell this summer, will they sell to Arsenal? We'll talk about that in detail. Arsenal are advancing in a transfer to sign Benfica left back Alex Grimaldo this weekend. An offer between 6 to 7 million euros is believed to be going in, with Benfica thought to be happy with that amount. Of course, I will talk about Lucas Paqueta as well. Jean-Michel Aulas has come out and confirmed that Lyon have received a couple of offers over the past few weeks for Lucas Paqueta. The player is 100% willing to join the Premier League and has already notified Lyon that they should not stand in his way if an offer comes in for him to join the Premier League. Hit the like button for me. Let's get this video to 800 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. We're very close to 53,000 subscribers. Of course, you can support the channel using my numbers in the description and of course also on the screen, and my account number as well. Now, let's start off with Ngolo Kante and the Daily Star. They have written and said Arsenal are considering a shock approach for Chelsea midfielder Ngolo Kante. Arsenal are ready to sound out whether Chelsea will cash in on the player with just 12 months remaining on Conte's current contract. The Daily Star exclusive. I really don't feel this is an exclusive. It's a story that I feel has been cooked up, and I don't feel Arsenal are really going to go for Ngolo Kante. But speaking about Kante joining Arsenal, I think that would be the greatest mark we can never make in this transfer window. Yes, we've signed in Gabriel Jesus, and he's a very, very exciting talent in his prime. 25, he's proven he's won everything at Manchester City apart from the UEFA Champions League. But you think about Ngolo Kante, he's much more than that. We wanted him 7 years ago under Arsene Wenger. That was in 2015-2016 when Leicester City had just won the league, and we failed to get him. Chelsea beat us to the transfer of the player, and I think we signed Granit Xhaka instead. But Ngolo Kante as a player, if you think about him, if you think about all the exciting qualities Arsenal would get in signing Ngolo Kante, it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer that Arsenal should be going for him. Now, there's so many things that we have to look at in this one. One is the player going to leave Chelsea this summer. Yes, he has 12 months left on his contract. That is 1 year, right? 12 months. That is 1 year left on his contract until 2023. And I think he's very, very much in the thoughts and plans and preparations of Thomas Tuchel. I don't see him as a player that has been sidelined. I don't see him as a player that is being pushed away by Thomas Tuchel. Despite the fact that he's turned 30, I think he's 31 now, he's still a very, very vital part of this Chelsea side. And I think if you brought him in Arsenal, again, he would be a very, very vital and important part of that Arsenal side. He can play for you in a single pivot. He's a very, very hard-working player, press-proof, and very, very relentless. But I think that is the same thing he's giving Chelsea. When you look at the Chelsea midfield, they have Jorginho, who's clearly not better than Ngolo Kante as a defensive midfielder. They have Kovacic, but Kovacic is better playing together with Ngolo Kante rather than replacing him. And I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek. So unless Chelsea are thinking of buying a new defensive midfielder, I don't think they would really get rid of Ngolo Kante at the moment. Yes, they've not had contract negotiations with the player, but that could happen very, very soon as this new season begins. Now, a couple of people have quietly, rightly said that last campaign he was not up to standard. And for me, the reason as to why we've seen Ngolo Kante as a player who's not up to standard last campaign is because he's set the bar too high. He's a player who performs at the topmost level. Everywhere on the pitch, his work rate is unmatched and unsophisticated. So when he drops a little bit, the whole world goes, wow, Ngolo Kante is flopping. Ngolo Kante is now off form. yes, he might be, his standards might have dropped a little bit. But if you compare him to the other, defensive midfielders and players that play in the same area just like him, what it will show you is that he's just set the bar too high. He has just set the bar too high for himself, that my performances have to be at this level. The moment they drop, the moment I'm not performing at that level, you are okay to call me a failure and you're okay to call me a flop. So in my opinion, I actually do not think Ngolo Kante is a flop. And I think he still has around 3 more years of playing at the topmost level. So Arsenal going for him. Let's discuss that. I don't think Chelsea would be very, very stupid enough to let Ngolo Kante join Arsenal. One, everyone now sees what Arsenal are building at the Emirates Stadium, the quality and the numbers that we are bringing in every summer. So Chelsea understand now that the 3 biggest rivals to their third place, because I think Chelsea again are not at that level where they should be competing with Liverpool and Manchester City, but they feel they should be finishing third on a more regular basis, because that kind of looks like their place when you compare the amount of quality they have as compared to Spurs, Arsenal, and United. So Chelsea know the 3 clubs that are fighting tooth and nail to take away their privilege of finishing third every season, or finishing in the top 3 every season. A Man United, Spurs, and now a very relentless Arsenal. So they can't just give you a player, one of the best in that role in the world. They just can't do that. I'll be very, very happy if we signed him, but I don't see how Chelsea give us the player. But does it fit into Mikel Arteta's style of play and what we want to do? Absolutely. He's a player that would just make sure that Arsenal regain possession every time we lose it. And I think, other than unlike many defensive midfielders, he's one of them that is one of the kind that guarantees you winning the ball back cleanly, pretty cleanly. So that means you do not have to lose possession again by giving away silly free kicks and unwanted dead ball situations. So Ngolo Kante, top player. I would love Arsenal to sign him. If I was talking to the transfer team, I'll tell them, try and make whatever, just get whatever you can and bring him in. But if we cannot get Ngolo Kante, I understand the barriers that Chelsea will put in place. We can't go for Ibrahim Sangare, one of the best central midfielders and defensive midfielders in the world right now at PSV. He is phenomenal. We can also go for Wilfred Ndidi. Problem is with his injury status. They are bedfellows with injuries. But if there is a way the physio can just deal with that injury-prone career of his, then he would be a great addition again to Arsenal. So according to the Daily Star, Arsenal are considering a shock approach for Chelsea midfielder Ngolo Kante, and Arsenal are ready to sound out whether Chelsea are willing to sell and cash in on the player. I think the valuation for Ngolo Kante would be around, I think Chelsea would ask in excess of 35 million, because if you look at other players that in that range, and the quality of Ngolo Kante, they're going for in excess of 45. So I think Chelsea would ask for in excess of 35 million pounds, not even euros, but million pounds, despite the fact that the player has 1 year left on his contract. And I do not think they will sell. I'm still very, very positive. I do not think they will actually sell. Now, moving on to the other big story around the internet, it's been Lucas Paqueta. Paqueta has been making rounds, of course, in the last 22 hours. But now, Jean-Michel Aulas has confirmed that a couple of offers have been placed on their table for Lucas Paqueta. And the player has told them they should not stand in his way if an offer they deem able and pleasant actually comes in. Now, the problem with Lyon and negotiating with Jean-Michel Aulas, first and foremost, and I'll do a video about Lucas Paqueta very, very shortly, is what do they deem palatable? What do they deem okay? What do they deem fine? That is one of the problems. The other problem with Lyon and their negotiating process is, if they do not want to sell a player, if they feel they do not want to lose a player, they're going to ask for ridiculous amounts of money. The transfer market value is around £60 million. More sources claim that Lyon would be asking for around £50 million, which 50 million euros, which is around 43 million pounds. But for me, the excitement you get from a player like Lucas Paqueta, and the ability for him to switch positions comfortably across systems, and the ability for him to be one of the best midfielders in the French league and arguably in Europe, I don't think they're going to ask for only 43 million pounds. So it will depend on how serious Arsenal are on the player, and it will also depend on how much and how far we are willing to go to sign him. If it is right, listen, if it is 50 million pounds, I think Arsenal can try out. But if it is going to go in excess of 50 million pounds, I doubt Arsenal will be ready to say, yeah, it's 55 million pounds, in excess of 55 million pounds, but he's the player we want. I think that is when Arsenal will back off. Just like with the Serge Milinkovic-Savic. Arsenal always try to do these kind of deals in the transfer market. They try to check in. Like, they go to Lazio and tell them, we have 40 million for Serge Milinkovic-Savic. And we know the player is going to leave you on a free next summer. So if you can agree to 43 million pounds, we'll take the player, and you don't lose him on a free. So they try to explore those deals that you'd call, not really easy deals, but surprise deals and bargains, right? But Lucas Paqueta, for me, is not going to be a bargain. His contract is still on, I think, until 2024, 2025. Lyon have no loss in retaining him. Yes, they can sell because they brought in Corentin Tolisso, by the way. And you think Corentin Tolisso can play in that area where Lucas Paqueta plays. So Corentin Tolisso could be a good replacement of the player, but it's still very, very difficult, and it's very, very far away. And then Arsenal have to beat the competition, the competition from Newcastle as well. Newcastle have been the closest club to talk to Lucas Paqueta, convince him, and tell him about the Premier League. He loves the idea of signing for a club in the Premier League, but at the moment there is nothing confirmed. And lastly, Arsenal have also stepped up their interest in Alejandro Grimaldo at Benfica, with reports claiming that this weekend we could see a 6 to 7 million euro price go in for the 26-year-old to Benfica. Now, Benfica are very happy with selling the player if there is a club that is going to come in and give them the right amount of money they want. Now, we know we've done a couple of business with Benfica. Last summer, we did sign in Nuno Tavares for around 10 million euros, a combined fee. Going back there to do business with them might not be the hardest of tasks. Although we didn't get Darwin Núñez as we tried to do that in January, but I think going for Alejandro Grimaldo could be quite different. Now, Arsenal view him as a player that can play and give you that role of Lisandro Martinez, a player who can play as a left back, a player who can play as a left midfielder, and a player who can play for you as well as a centre back at times. But I think with Alejandro Grimaldo, it just comes in primarily as a backup to Kante. It doesn't come in as a backup to Gabriel Magalhaes. He comes in as a backup to Kante. But of course, we will discuss much of that in the Alejandro Grimaldo signing for Arsenal transfer video. Everything you need to know. Hit the like button, and I'll speak to you in the next one.